Yo guys, what is going on? My name is Eclipse and today we're going to be taking a look at a level 6 in the Legendary Arena. So this level 6 was kind enough to let me join his clan, and all he asked was that I give him a shout out. So shout out to Easy Money or Easy $. Literally, he's like the chillest dude ever, and that's all he wanted me to say. So special shout out to you. But with that out of the way, let's get into the main purpose of the video. So right here, as I was saying, this is his clan, Easy Money, and his name is Mango. And right there you can see he is a level 6 with a trophy record of 3,097. Now he does purposely stay at level 6, and yes, he has very good cards, and I'll be covering all of this later on in the video, but I figured it's just pretty important to show you guys now. Getting right into the first battle I had against Mango, and don't worry, I won't be doing any spoilers, but just know someone in this battle gets an ass kicking, and I have a reputation for being ass, so will I be the one getting my ass kicked? I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out. I mean, you know, I'm not going to spoil the video for you. But getting back on track, Mango is a very good attacker, and right now I'm trying out the Chief Pat deck, and as you know, I'm a pretty big scrub when it comes to raiding, but I was trying my hardest to win. And the second battle I actually do with Mango, I switched the deck up a bit, but just to understand, he's a pretty solid player. So he has cards kind of similar to mine, and I don't want to talk about how he necessarily got up here yet. I want to save that for later on in the video, but right here I'm trying to get my push. I have Barbarians tanking, I throw the Royal Giant down, and I was all set, to push. But he kind of drew my, Barbarians out, then he had an Inferno Tower, and then here I placed the worst fireball known to man, and my goal was to get a few hits off, and I managed to do that, but still, that was a pretty big fail of a push if you want to ask me. So right here, just continuing on, I'm just gonna, continue playing very slowly, trying to slowly advance on Mango, but to be honest, he's a pretty good attacker, and one thing I noticed that he always does is he always takes out elixir collectors. He does not let the other player ever get any elixir advantage. He'll use his Goblin Barrel or his lightning spell to always take out that elixir collector. Just understand that. Now here's his Goblin Barrel, like I said, and I thought he was gonna originally place it on my tower, so I threw some spear goblins down, but he just zapped those, and as you can see, that one Goblin Barrel pretty much took out an entire elixir collector, and he managed to get a couple hits off on my tower from his zap spell, but that's not the biggest deal. So right there, he splits up his Barbarians, and I kind of wasted a Fireball. I really don't think that was needed, but I just wanted to get a few hits off on that tower. So, pretty stupid of me. And then right here, I arrow his Princess, and I'm pretty sure the point of his deck is to just bait out my arrow so he can use the Goblin Barrel as he does right here. But I just kept arrowing his Princess anyways. I was pretty tired when I recorded all these, so of course, even though I'm a bad raider, me being tired just makes me even worse at battling. So again, right here, here's an MLG Fireball. I don't even know, don't ask me what that necessarily was. It was just terrible, complete ass, just like my battling skills in Clash Royale. But this push, we ended up getting a few hits off with the Royal Giant, so thank God. And for some reason right here, I deployed an Elixir Collector down instead of worrying about his troops, and he still, like I said, threw down that Goblin Barrel and tried to destroy my Collector, but the only problem was this time it was kind of a fail. So at this point, I really haven't had any successful pushes, and neither has he. But right there, he zaps my Collector, and my tower, or my, arena tower, is getting pretty low. So, again, for some reason, I was a dumbass, and I put the Collector on the side he was attacking. Like, what was I thinking? So right there, I said, oops, because I realized I screwed up, and yeah. One tip, if you guys learned anything from this video, deploy your Collector on the opposite side of where they're attacking from. But right here, he zaps my troops, and he ends up barely picking off that win, but good game to Mango. Moving on over to the next battle, and right here I don't want to commentate the raid play-by-play like I previously did. I figured now I should just explain how he necessarily got this high in trophies as a level 6, because not any level 6 can do this. So back to his profile, if you remembered when I showed you his profile, he had very high level cards. His cards are like the level that level 7 and 8s have their cards. Like, he has level 8 commons, pretty high rares, pretty high epics, all of his cards for the most part are a pretty decent level. And then if you looked kind of further down on his profile, you saw his donations, and his donations are very bad. Like, he just doesn't donate because donating gives you XP and he does not want XP at all. So basically he just doesn't upgrade any cards, doesn't donate, and he kind of just sits there and stalls at a level 6. Of course, he probably had to spend some money on the game to get his cards up that high, and since he does have the princess, my guess is that he spent a decent amount of money just to unlock her. Also, I'm also going to assume that he does not upgrade his cards on purpose. I'm sure he has plenty of cards he can upgrade, but he's choosing not to upgrade them just because they'll give him XP. And to be honest, I don't really see the point in doing this because if you're a level 6, you know, compared to me, which is a level 9, my towers have more health than his, my towers do more damage than his, and basically I'm a lot more set than he is. He is at such a disadvantage, even though he has high level cards, and even though he's a pretty skillful, you know, battler or attacker, he is still at a pretty big disadvantage considering his towers do not do that much damage to my troops. So in most cases, he's relying on his troops for countering and mainly his troops for pushing. Also, you know, I did ask him a few questions like, do you think the game is pay to win and stuff like that, and I'll talk about that as the next battle approaches. But just keep in mind, like, he has to have some motivation to, you know, stay a level 6 and keep trophy pushing. Of course, you can't stay a certain level forever, so eventually he will become a level 7, but until then, he's just gonna stay a level 6 and keep kicking ass above 3,000 trophies, which to be honest is absolutely insane. And this video won't just consist of him kicking my ass. I'll go over and put some, you know, raids of him beating a real person after this one, but I just wanted to show like that this dude is actually pretty legit and pretty good. I mean, I know I'm not the best, as I've said about 500 times this video, but it does take some skill to beat a higher level player. Like, even though I'm a higher level player, I should have like an automatic win because I have better cards, but this just isn't the case with him. He's like an actual, you know, skillful raider, and he kind of just proves that, you know, even though he might be a lower level, he can still do some pretty good work and manage higher up. And again, right there, he beats me for the second time. And moving on over to the final battle of the video, right now I would talk about his advice because I did ask him a few questions, and the first thing I said was, do you think this game is pay to win? And his answer was absolutely, but then he followed it up with, the only problem is that the people who, you know, spend all this money, they just aren't that good. So for example, let's take someone like me. I spent a decent amount of money on this game, and I like to think of myself as decent, but then we go over to someone like Mango, who probably hasn't spent that much money on the game, but since he has so much skill, he knows what he's doing, he knows how to use each card, he knows how to counter every card. This kind of puts him like on the same level as me, because even though, you know, like I've said, I have better things statistically, but then again, he just has all of that knowledge built up. So again, I'm going to reference back to a point I already said. People like me who gem and who are well spent, they just kind of play the game at their own pace, but then people like Mango know exactly what they're doing, and that's why he can be such a low level at a high trophy range. And the next question I asked him was, how do you recommend, you know, other players push, or do you have any, you know, recommendations for pushing? And he didn't say, you know, just copy this deck and you'll be good. He said, pick a deck you're comfortable using and master it. So let's say you have a deck which you really like, but sometimes you lose, but you win a majority. Figure out why you're losing, tweak it a bit, and just master it. Learn how to counter every attack the enemy uses on you, learn all the counter pushes you can do, and overall just learn every single possible thing about your deck. And I've tried using the deck that Mango has, and to be honest, it's pretty good. Now, I'm by no means, you know, perfect at using his deck at all. I managed to push like 200 trophies or like 150 trophies with it, and I'm kind of inconsistent with it. Like, I'll win one battle, then the very next battle I'll lose one, but overall his deck is pretty good. Now, the only problem is a majority of you can't use it because it has the princess. But the princess shouldn't really be the only card holding you back. You can try using his deck but changing it up a bit, maybe adding arrows, the minion horde, or just try, changing out that princess for a card you like. And again, his tip was don't copy other people's decks, copy decks that you know how to use and decks that suit your preference. As you can see, his deck is pretty diverse. A lot of the cards he uses are a lot of cards that not many people normally run. For example, I rarely see the bomb tower on like Royale TV or in any top players' decks, but he uses the bomb tower and he like absolutely loves it. Or sorry, he uses the bomber, not the bomb tower. And then something else which he does, and I mentioned this earlier on, is he does not let the enemy get any elixir advantage. So if the enemy places any elixir collector, a majority of the time he uses the goblin barrel, and then a lot of times he'll use the lightning spell. And a main force of his attack is the lightning spell. For example, right there's a musketeer in his way. He just places that lightning spell, zaps the tower, zaps the musketeer, and like overall, he not only does he wipe out that musketeer and keep his force going, he also does a decent amount of damage to the enemy tower. And right here, if you just look at how close these enemies are getting to his towers, he just does not give up. He just keeps on pushing and he keeps on going, and like, I'm just kind of in shock that such a low level can do so well. And this battle is kind of winding down right now. It's in overtime, and obviously we all know Mango's gonna win because Mango is the coolest, person ever. Again, shout out to Easy Money. He did ask me to give his clan a shout out, and I have no problem doing that at all. So if you meet his, clan requirements, go join Easy Money, talk to Mango, learn some tips, and hopefully, you learn a thing or two. But guys, this is Mini Clips. This is everything I really do have to say for today's video. If you know any other level 6s in the Legendary Arena, just comment that in the comment section below, and peace out.